everybody, and welcome to the Season 11 finale of Cooking Corner with me, Giuseppe CrimiVaroli. To round out this season, I have a delicious one-pan meal to make for your whole family. I'm going to show you how to make a chicken and orzo skillet. Now, in terms of ingredients for this recipe, you're going to need the following. You're going to need 3 cups of chicken broth. You're going to need some dry white wine. You're going to need some olive oil. You're going to need some spinach. You're going to need some half and half. You're going to need some Parmesan cheese. You're going to need some orzo. You're going to need some grape tomatoes. And finally, you're going to need some chicken. For the hardware for this recipe, you're going to need the following. You're going to need a large measuring cup, a shallow spoon or spatula, a sharp knife and a sharp knife with serrations, 1 pan/pot to cook your entire meal in, and a cutting board. Moving right along, folks, step number 1, as always, is going to be wash your hands. Go ahead. Turn the water on, get your hands nice and wet. Once your hands are nice and wet, add some soap. 2 squirts is my preference. 1, 2. Rub that soap all around, get in between the fingers, get on the back of the knuckles, get under the fingernails. Then you can get your hands nice and wet and wash all that soap off of them. And once your hands are nice and wet and clean, you can take a towel, dry them off, and we're ready to cook. Now that our hands are nice and clean, it's time for step number 2. And step number 2 is going to be cut and cook your chicken. So, you're only going to need about a pound of chicken, so what I would recommend doing is just using 1 boneless, skinless chicken breast. Once you've selected your chicken breast, go ahead and trim all the fat off, and then you're going to cut it into cutlets and then strips. I'll show you how to do it. Once you've trimmed most of the fat off, you're just going to slap your hand on top of the chicken, take the knife, and cut it hamburger style twice, so you'll get 3 cutlets out of 1 chicken breast. I'll show you how to do it. Once you've got your chicken cut into cutlets, you're going to go ahead and slice them into strips. So, take one of your cutlets and just cut it horizontally. Like that. Until you have strips this size made from all your chicken. Now that your chicken is all cut up into strips, you can lightly salt and pepper it, put 2 tablespoons of olive oil in the pan, and cook it. So go ahead, lightly salt and pepper it. Two tablespoons of olive oil in the pan. Turn the heat on. And cook the chicken. While your chicken is cooking, you can measure out 1.5 cups of orzo to prepare for the next step. Once your chicken is cooked all the way through, you can turn the temperature down and use your spoon to remove the chicken from the pan while leaving all the juices in there. Set aside your cooked chicken and get ready for step number 3. Because step number 3 is going to be toast your orzo. And we're not even using a toaster. Can you believe it? Alright, what you're going to need to do is take 1.5 cups of orzo and add it to your already hot skillet. Just like that. Then you can turn the heat back up because you're going to toast the orzo until it's golden brown. So get toasted right now. While your orzo is toasting, you can prep for the next step by cutting your grape tomatoes in half. Now, depending on the size of your little tomatoes, you may need to cut them either in half or in thirds. For me, I'm going to cut mine in half. Go ahead, take it, hold it down, slice it cleanly in half. You're going to need to cut up your tomatoes until you have about 3/4 of a cup of halved grape tomatoes. Once your orzo is nice and golden brown and delicious, you're going to add a half a cup of dry white wine. So go ahead, get your white wine, measure out a half cup, pour it into the orzo, and stir it all around. Once your wine is in and starts absorbing, you can move on to the next step. Moving on to step number 4. And step number 4 is going to be add your chicken broth and your tomatoes. So you're going to need 3 cups of chicken broth in your orzo stack. Go ahead, take your chicken broth, measure out 3 cups of it. 1, 2, 3. Then mix that around. Make sure to dislodge any bits that might be stuck to the bottom of the pan. Once you get your broth in there, you can also add your chopped up tomatoes. So drop them right in there. Turn the heat up and bring it to a boil. Now that your broth is boiling, it's time for step number 5. And step number 5 is going to be re-add your meat and turn the temperature down. So go ahead, start by turning the temp down, and then reintroduce your chicken into the pot. Feel free to tuck that chicken right into the orzo, and then you're ready for the next step. Now that your chicken is back in your pan, you're going to cook it uncovered for 12 to 15 minutes or until the orzo has absorbed almost all of the moisture. If the orzo starts sticking to the bottom, you just need to add some more chicken broth. Feel free to occasionally give it a little stir. Alright, once the orzo has absorbed almost all of the liquid, you're ready for step number 6. And step number 6 is going to be add the rest of your ingredients. So, while it's still on the heat, you're going to add 3 cups of baby spinach. So go ahead, drop that in there. Then you can stir that around for about 1.5 to 2 minutes. Alright, once you've integrated your spinach and it starts to wilt, you can turn the heat off and remove your pan from the heat. Once your pan is no longer on the heat, you're going to add a half a cup of half and half and a half a cup of grated parm. So go ahead, open up your half and half. Add half a cup of half and half. Pour that into your skillet. Then you can add a half cup of parm. Once all of your ingredients are incorporated, you're ready for the final step. The final step is going to be plating. So get yourself a shallow bowl if you have one. Take your spoon. Get yourself a nice heaping serving of it. And just like that, you're ready to enjoy. Now it's time for a little taste test. Go ahead, get your bowl of creamy chicken and orzo, grab a fork, and go for a big old bite. chicken, tomato, spinach. We got it all right here. Little hot. That was delicious! That concludes this episode and season 11 of Cooking Corner with me, Giuseppe CrimiVaroli. I want to thank you for sticking around for the whole season and supporting my channel. I really appreciate it, given all the hard work that me and Cam put into the episodes. If you like this recipe, leave a like below. If there's something you want to see on the channel, leave it in the comments and I'll try to make it for you. If you like videos like this, subscribe to my channel. We're putting out new content all the time. I'll see you next season and bye-bye now.